And now it's time for Guerilla Roundup. They'll let you know what happened overnight when things transpire you whilst you sleep. Right there in the loop you keep.
So welcome to the Guerilla Roundup for the first day of the second test, pink ball test from Brisbane. And I'm very pleased to be joined today by Arnav Kholkar, if I hope I've got that right,
Yep.
uh, on
Yep.
his debut on Guerilla Roundup. So before we go any further, I'll get you to briefly introduce yourself, Arnav, and tell us what you're doing in Guerilla Towers.
Yeah. So hi guys. My name is Arnav. I'm a sports journalism master student from the University of Brighton, and I'm working with Guerilla Cricket as my work placement. Helping them out with written reports, some live commentary, as well as this roundup.
Excellent. Thank you for that.
Yep.
And I hope you enjoyed your day there. Um,
Yeah, it's been a good day.
okay. So speaking of today, can you start off very briefly, letting us know what the score is and how the day progressed?
So England have batted considerably well and have ended the day on 325 for 9. Having started the day in a shaky way, and they were down to 5 for 2 after 2.3 overs, and it looked like Mitchell Starc would skittle England cheaply again and wouldn't let them cut loose. But then Joe Root, Zach Crawley, and Ben Stokes as well steadied the ship a bit, put up some partnerships, and brought England's total beyond the 150 mark. And partnership with Harry Brook took in England past 200, after which they lost a flurry of wickets before Joe Root picked up his first um, ton in Australia, which was also his 40th ton in Test cricket in 160 games. And Jofra Archer played a valuable cameo at the end, and England have survived the day. They still have a wicket in hand, and they can probably add some more runs in the morning tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you. So let's go back to the beginning of the day. It was a beautiful day in Brisbane. And the game started at 2 o'clock local time. So it was about
Yep.
29 degrees. Um, the toss and the team news at the beginning. Let us know what happened there.
Yep. So England won the toss and decided Ben Stokes decided to bat straight away, and they came in with one change from their last match, with Mark Wood going out and Will Jacks coming in, and surprising change for Australia with Nathan Lyon left out of the lineup with an injury which was found out in the start of play, and Michael Neser came in for him.
Well, just to correct that, he wasn't injured at the start of play. He got injured during the first session of play, bowling to uh, Bo Webster in the nets. Bo Webster hit a ball back
Right.
very hard at him and got him on the shin or the ankle, and he was limping out of
Right.
the nets. But the selector said that he wasn't dropped because of injury. They just made a call, which I don't think was right. Most people were quite shocked by that, to be honest. Anyway,
Yeah.
it is well
Yeah.
was what it was. So take us to the first over. There's a certain degree of familiarity about this.
Well, it's the 26th time Mitchell Starc has picked up a wicket in his first over, and the first 5 balls didn't make it seem like there was going to be a wicket. When Zach Crawley called for a single on the fifth ball, it seemed like Ben Duckett would just come up to the crease, take guard, defend the ball, try to see off the first over. But then Mitchell Starc bowled a lovely full delivery, which just about shaped outside of off stump and tempted Ben Duckett into showing the full face of the bat. But the ball did just enough to catch and make him fly into first slip hand.
Yeah, it was a delivery that any opener could have got out to, in my view. I don't think there was any particular fault lies with Ben Duckett. It was a beautiful delivery. And
It was, yeah.
yeah, not so much so in Stark's next over, though, when Ollie Pope was on strike. How did that go?
Oh, that wasn't very nice, was it? It was kind of a rush shot. After playing two dot balls, Ollie looked to score some runs down to third man, but then the ball bounced at an awkward height and just picked up the inside edge, and he played it onto his stumps. And it was a bit of a, I don't think that was the right shot to play at that point in his innings. Coffee
Yeah.
should have seen the ball a bit more, left it maybe, get into the innings a bit more, and then try to play some shots which include cuts or pull shots.
Yep. Um, I might ask you to come a little bit forward if you can and be a little closer to the microphone because you're just a little faint.
Yeah.
That's great. Thank you. So then we had Zach Crawley and Joe Root together. So
Mhm.
let's talk a bit about Zach Crawley's innings. How did you see that?
Oh, well, so few days ago, we had the Bishop and the Bear podcast on which I claimed that Zach Crawley is going to score 100 this innings. He didn't quite make it, but 76 is a great score for him after the first couple of innings in the first test. So he started well. He played some really good shots on the offside. He picked up the length of the ball well, and he was leaving the ball fairly well at the start as well. But then I think once he got into his innings and he faced the ball on which he got out, it was I think another shot that he could have avoided trying to cut the ball, and it took the inside edge, and he lost his wicket. But that was a good innings from him. It set the tone for Joe Root to put up his century because that their partnership was quite valuable to steady the ship a bit in the middle order. And yeah,
Yes, indeed. And that was Nisa's only wicket of the day. Um, I,
yep,
I'll get back to talking about Australian bowling in general. So we then had Harry Brook joining Joe Root. Uh, Harry Brook, uh, I'm not an England supporter, but I, if I was an England supporter, I would have my heart in my mouth all the time when Harry Brook was batting, I think. There's something about him. He
yep,
plays some glorious shots, but he also plays some crazy shots. And there are
yeah,
times he just seems to go overboard.
yeah, exactly. I think when you're going to run a ball, when you've played about 6 overs or 5 overs, and you've scored 30 runs. Yeah, there should be a time in the innings where you try to put the pressure back onto the bowlers and show them that you value your wicket. Just defend, leave the ball when it's supposed to be left. He slashed at a ball that was quite wide of off stump, and he got what he deserved, I guess.
Mm, indeed. So at this stage, we had Joe Root and Ben Stokes together, and it was dark by then. So they were
Yep,
playing under the lights with the pink ball. Uh, and it was a different phase. It wasn't what you get used to with baseball sometimes. How, how
exactly.
would you describe that period of play?
So I think England realized that they should try to get as close to the end of the day as possible with Joe Root and Ben Stokes still out in the middle. But then Ben Stokes, I think, pushed himself into a corner sort of with how many shots he was blocking. He blocked quite a few shots back to back, and then it came to a point where he felt a bit restless, I get to get off strike. And then he hit a ball which he thought it was a run, and he was halfway down the pitch, and Joe Root straight away refused the run. But it was too late. And yeah, that was a great throw by Josh Inglis to get him out.
Well, it's great pickup as well. I mean, it was
But
yeah,
yeah,
it was a superb piece of fielding by Inglis. Not bad for a wicketkeeper, really.
yeah,
Um,
that's true. And with that angle as well, with just one stump to aim at, he got it absolutely right.
yeah, I mean, Brook and Britton Stokes put on what 34 and 15 overs, so it was a very uh fairly stodgy period of play where they were trying to rebuild the innings by making sure they didn't do anything foolish. And they, shot wise, I don't think they did. It was just
Yeah.
misfortune at what happened then. And then, of course, we had Jamie Smith come in. How did that look?
I think Jamie Smith did not read the situation right. After losing the wicket of your captain, when you walk into the middle, you want to sort of get in and try to stabilize the innings and get yourself in as well. But he just went for a shot that wasn't there, and then Scott Boland has the knack of picking up wickets at the right time, so
Yeah.
didn't go
Especially
down well for
when you're
Smith, but
under
then
lights and you're not used to it, to not play yourself in those circumstances. I think it was a very good ball, though.
yeah, it was a good ball.
And so then we had Will Jacks, who's back for his first test in a long time, um, who's there to bolster the England batting lineup as well as provide a bit of spin bowling.
Yeah,
How did he look?
he got in well. Will Jacks made a good start. I thought he would be the one that would help Root get over the line in terms of a century. But then Mitchell Starc came back for another wonderful spell, picked up 3 wickets at the end. It looked like he was going to wipe the tail out, but then Jofra Archer showed some good spirit and stayed in the middle to
Yes,
help Joe
Jacks,
Root pick up his
Atkinson, and
century.
Cass fell very quickly, didn't they? They, uh,
I think they fell in the span of 2 or 3 overs back
yeah.
to back. Yeah.
And I mean, it was all with when Archer came in, Root initially started protecting him, uh, but
Yep.
all of a sudden they changed their tactics dramatically and decided there was about 40 minutes to go, I suppose, was there?
Yep.
That they'd make the best of the situation and just hit whatever runs they could. So Jofra
Yep.
Archer's 32 off 26 deliveries with 2 sixes. Uh,
Mhm.
that was quite
I
something to
think he was
watch,
the
wasn't it?
one. Yeah, so I think when he hit the first six, which was his first six as well as England's first six of the day, when he connected that shot, I think that gave him and Joe Root as well some confidence that they can go after the Australian attack. And then um, he hit another six, both of Mitchell Starc, I think, and then Joe Root also hit 1 6. So those are valuable 18 runs towards the end of the day. And as you can see, it's brought England already on 325. If not for those 3 6s, they could have been just at 300, for instance.
And Root really broke out. I mean, he reached his 100 off 181 balls. He's now faced,
Yeah.
what is it, 202 balls, and he's on 135. So he's made 35 in 21 balls. So he really made the best of the situation. So with England at 325 for nine, I think we should talk a bit more about Joe Root because for all the naysayers, he was always going to make a
Mhm.
century or several centuries in this series, it seemed to me.
Yeah, it was
And
going to come at some point.
yeah,
Sorry.
what was your feeling about the way he constructed his innings?
I think he did really well to sort of uh, play a slower innings when he was batting with Zach Crawley because Crawley was already in. He was hitting his shots. I think he did well in giving Crawley that chance. But as soon as Crawley departed, Joe Root became the sort of the anchor of the innings, and he made sure that he holds one end up while the batters on the other end get settled, which showed in his partnerships with Stokes and Brook. And as you said, towards the end, that acceleration was important as well. And I think it was kind of helped by the field that Australia set because everyone was on
Mm.
the boundaries. There were a few shots that went up in the air, which could have been caught in the inner circle, but then there was no fielders there. So they got a few extra runs there. Jofra Archer's quick between the wickets. So they picked up some valuable doubles and singles towards the end. And yeah, he just showed his class as one of the best test batters to have ever played for England. And hopefully tomorrow he can probably get to a 150. That would help him and the team as well. And probably would get England to 350 maybe. That would
Yeah,
be a good score.
yes, indeed it would. As far as Australia's bowling is concerned, Stark was clearly the standout. He had 6 for 71. Nisa had 1 for 43, Boland 1 for 87, Doggett none for 76, and Green none for 43. Uh, my judgment was that apart from Stark, the bowling was pretty ordinary most of the time. Um, the they didn't have that consistency of length
Yep.
or direction that we've come to associate with Hazelwood and Cummins, for example. So I felt like, and even Boland, I would have expected to have that consistency, and it wasn't there today. So it wasn't an impressive attack. And I think not having Lyon is a huge miss for Australia. I really do. It's a very strange decision to leave him out. So, I mean, what was your impression from your end of things in terms of the Australian bowling?
I think Stark as per did really well, and Michael Neser started really well as well. And Boland was, well, he didn't pick up so many wickets, but I think he was quite economical in his first 10 overs. It's the second half of his overs in which he conceded a few runs when I think Joe Root let loose a bit, and Joe Archer hit him as well for a bit. But then out of five bowlers, when you have three bowlers going at around 5 runs per over, that's not really ideal when you want to restrict the team.
Yes. Yeah.
So yes, and also Nathan Lyon would have helped them in two ways. One is obviously he's a world-class spin bowler, and the other is that the over rate. Um, Australia managed just 24 overs in the first session, 23 in the second session, and 26 in the last session. And
Yeah.
they're 6 overs short at the end of the day from what should be the target of 80 overs. And this could have been avoided if Lyon was in the lineup.
Well, I mean, technically, there's supposed to be 90 overs bowled in the day. So, there's 16. I know the scoreboard said they were six behind, but, you know, the
Yeah,
expectation is for 90 overs in a day's play. So it
yeah.
was very, very poor indeed. And I cannot see them not getting penalized for that, frankly. Uh, and it would be a travesty if they weren't. Um, so at the end of the day, England 325 for nine. They had some really dodgy patches along the way. They've got to feel pretty pleased
Mhm.
about that, haven't they?
Yeah, 100%. Because, as I said at the start, after being 5 for 2, like having scored not more than 160 runs in their previous two innings, people would think that England would be dismissed for the similar score this time around. But they've stuck in and they've made more than double of that score. So they've set themselves up for a competitive second test match, and they've given themselves a good chance to get back into the series in the second test itself. Because
Absolutely.
if they go 2-0 down, it's almost over, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's the general view. Uh, I
Yeah.
also think there was a lot of hype and hubris on the Australian media's part about, we don't lose pink ball tests. I think they're as vulnerable as they've ever been in this situation. That's not to say that they won't
Yep.
come out and make 400 themselves, because the modus operandi in pink ball tests has actually been to grind the opposition down by having long innings. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. It's a long way to go. One thing we haven't spoken about is the pitch. How did that play?
I think it's been pretty consistent, except for the odd bounce. There were a few balls which, when bowled at a good length, aimed at the stumps, they were shooting up a bit. I think Cameron Green bowled a couple of deliveries like that. There was also a few deliveries from Michael Neser that shot up and bounced unexpectedly. So the pitch is played good. It seems like a good batting track still. Like looking at the shots that Jofra Archer and Joe Root were playing at the end. Uh, yeah, it seemed like a good batting track till the lights came on. Then the ball did a bit, but then yeah, still seems like a good pitch to bat on.
Yes, yeah, it does. And I think the other thing is that Jofra Archer and Joe Root hitting as they did towards the end when the ball's soft and the
Hmm.
bowlers are finding much harder to get something out of it, shows at the very least that it's possible to see the ball perfectly well under lights. And uh, the truth is that ping pong tests often end up with a lot of runs being scored, despite the sort of
Hmm.
mythology about them being over in a couple of days. And I think we're going to
Yeah,
be set for this to potentially be a 4 or 5 day test from where we are now, which would be good.
yeah, I hope so.
I think there's a lot of England supporters who would be extraordinarily angry if they come all the way here, sit through 1 2 day test, and then have another short one. Um,
Yeah.
so, uh, for you, what was the standout moment of the day? What was the thing that will stick in your mind?
Oh, definitely Joe Root's 100 because it's been years and years he's been going down there performing well. He's got so many scores in like the 80s and 90s in Australia, but then this is the first time he made it over the line. And I think it's a big milestone mentally for him because there's still like half of this match and three more tests remaining. And if your best batsman is crossing a hurdle like that fairly early in the series, that's a big boost for the team as well.
Yeah, I've got to tell you, there's an awful lot of Australians who are relieved as well because we don't face the prospect of Matthew Hayden running around in the nude, which he promised to do if Joe Root didn't score a century, which was a fairly
Yeah,
fearsome thought. And well, I would say for me that yes, that was huge. A couple of things that I particularly remember. I thought Josh Inglis's run out of Ben Stokes was a
hmm
remarkable piece of fielding and really spectacular. And
yeah,
hitting the stumps from side on, just one stump, was just beautifully done. The other thing that I remember is the catch that was taken by Carey of was it Gus Atkinson, uh,
yeah, yeah.
who
Running all the
went,
way back,
yeah, he
and
went to hook it. It got a top edge. It went way up in the air, and I thought, well, he's never going to reach that. But not only did he reach it,
yeah,
he had Marnus Labuschagne running alongside him, trying to catch it as well for some extraordinary reason. And despite being interfered with by Labuschagne, who ended up on top of him as he caught it, he
yeah.
still managed to hang on to it. That was just, it was pretty extraordinary, but it was also a really, really good piece of work by Carey, who I think tends not to be acknowledged for how good a keeper he is, simply because
Yeah.
he's not flashy. He just does the job really well.
Yeah, especially even when he came up and stood up to the stumps, like that reminded me of Gilchrist standing up to Glenn McGrath back in the day.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
quite a good decision to come up and almost got them some. I mean, I would say half chances, but it didn't really result in a wicket when he stood up. But it was a good decision
He
to put
keeps
pressure on the
pressure on the
batsman.
batsman. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, because you were seeing Joe Root, he was standing a foot outside his crease in the beginning of his innings, and maybe to create his own length for the bowlers. But then once the wicket keeper is that close to the stumps, you can't try any of those things.
yeah. Now, one other thing I haven't warned you about, but uh, often on this roundup, we look for the gorilla of the day, and you have spent the whole night in the green room in the company of a number of gorillas, and we were not shy about drawing back the veil on some of the goings on in the green room. Is there anything
Mhm.
particular that stands out to you about your experience of sitting in the green room with all those lovely people? And don't feel shy
Uh,
about exposing appalling
I think
behavior.
how I think how all of us were kind of sleepy in the middle session, but then seeing Joe Root like in the 80s and the 90s, we all woke up and then uh, Tony, Bear, everyone like we cheered when he crossed the 100-run mark, and that was quite nice. Like energy went from 0 to 100 literally.
I think my most memorable moment was when Ollie Pope got out in the third over
Yeah.
and Bear just went, oh, for fuck's sake. It was just so
Yeah.
predictable, but so endearing, I think.
Yep. I hadn't made it to the studio yet at that time. I was still listening to it on my phone.
Oh,
But yeah, I
right.
did hear that.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Is there anything else about today that you want to share with us at all? Any memorable incidents?
I think we've covered everything.
Okay, and you enjoyed yourself. That's the main thing.
Yeah, yeah, this was nice. Yep. It was
Excellent.
a good day.
And thank you for all your work. Okay, well, that's it for today. Thank you all for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow. I'm not sure who will be joining me, but we will have a roundup at the end of play tomorrow for those of you who may have had to sleep through most of it. So if you want to support us, please go to patreon.com/gorilla cricket and
Mhm.
consider becoming a patron where you get access to our Discord page and various other benefits. So until tomorrow night, good night and thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
There's the bear in there, and Hendo as well. There are jingles they play, and swear words to you.